Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Snyder's Inc. And today we got another courtroom video. I know y'all been enjoying these, so I'm gonna keep doing them. This is most satisfying courtroom moments of dirty cops. And we'll get right into this. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, hit subscribe button, comment your thing down below. Let's go.
Already ruled. I've already ruled at this point in time. We're done at this point in time. He's going into jail today.
The drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
Zachary Wester. Okay.
This is Zachary Wester at his trial in Jackson County, Florida. He is a former sheriff's deputy facing
Charges 67 counts of racketeering. Holy crap. That is a lot of racketeering. 67 counts of racketeering. Holy shit. Fabricating evidence, false imprisonment, possession of controlled substance. I mean, yeah, if he's planting evidence, probably most drugs in that, he's technically in possession of a controlled substance.
charges of racketeering, fabricating evidence, false imprisonment, and possession of controlled substances.
67 counts.
Wester is accused of planting drugs in several vehicles during random traffic stops.
Appears to be an illegal narcotic. Do you know anything about that?
Despite all of the drivers denying ownership of the drugs, the majority of them were still arrested. These arrests raised suspicion internally, leading to Wester's suspension in 2018.
Interesting. So all of the people would deny having drugs, and all the people would say, like, no, I don't do drugs, I don't do anything like that. And they would get arrested anyways. And then, because of how many he kept doing, that kept denying it so clear as day, and so, like, convincingly probably saying, like, no, I don't do drugs. They were just like, I wonder if there's something up with the cop here instead of, like, the people. I wonder if the cop's up to something. Then I guess they watched and they looked and they were like, oh yeah, he's up to something. They probably watched his, they probably reviewed his body cam without him knowing, because he probably forgot it was on. Because some dirty cops are so stupid they do that. You'd then see him planting drugs. Yeah.
3 years later, the case finally went to trial, where Wester pleaded not guilty to all charges.
This is a case about an abuse of an incredible power, about the abuse of the incredible trust that we have to put in law enforcement.
The prosecution used
There's a lot of reasons why people don't trust authority. People don't trust law enforcement. There's a lot of people who don't trust law enforcement, and it's shit like this. Why? This video will be a prime example of why we don't trust law enforcement. It just doesn't. They just give you reasons not to, because there's cops like this that exist.
used the defendant's own body camera footage as evidence to support their argument in court. Stephen Van, who had a criminal record, had recently been released from jail when Wester allegedly discovered methamphetamine in his car.
Have you ever seen this before?
What is that?
I'm just trying to figure out how that stuff got in your car. You gonna go to jail today for possession of methamphetamine, okay?
Oh man, dude, I'm serious, dude. Anything, what you want me to do, man?
Similar to the other drivers who testified, Van allowed the officer to search his car as he believed he had nothing to hide.
And I knew when the truck was coming. I knew it was.
During the trial, the jury was able to view the majority of the recorded traffic stops. However, it was discovered that some recordings had mysteriously vanished and were no longer available.
Why in the world would that have been deleted? I wish I knew that answer.
Interestingly, the body camera footage turned out to be the most compelling evidence for the prosecution, particularly in the case involving Teresa Odom.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
At first,
My thing that makes it all, like, that makes it thing is, I bet you he's having a, here's what I bet happened here, right? This is the thing. This is two different things. This is power. He wants power. This could be a second thing. I'm not saying this, I don't know if this is a thing. But maybe they have a quota. on how much this officer they want to meet. They want to have catch some drug deals, right? People who have drugs. And this officer, instead of doing it by the books, hoping he'd do it, wants to be the guy who gets all the recognition for catching so many, so he's arrested. He's just planted evidence so he can say, I've caught this many people with drugs, and he can be seen that maybe he's trying to get to, like, maybe he's just a regular cop and he wants to get to narcotics division, something like that. So he's just gonna catch as many people with drugs, get all those on his name, that way it makes him look really good, hoping he wasn't gonna get caught.
The officer is very polite and even a bit playful.
If I need to be concerned about bombs, hand grenades, rocket launchers. Okay.
As Odom stands near the vehicle, Wester initiates the search. It is worth noting that as he gets ready to put on his gloves, there is a small item visible in his left hand. Prosecutors contend that Wester concealed a small bag of methamphetamine in his palm, which he then alleged to have discovered alongside a spoon inside the vehicle.
Miss Odom.
It is yogurt, sir.
It's fucking right there, man. How do you deny that? How do you deny that? How do you have the gall to deny that? It's on body cam footage, bro.
I know. Okay.
It's yogurt.
How about this, though?
That is not mine. No, sir.
Okay.
Now, the white small plastic baggie that was in that spoon that the deputy just showed you on this video, had you ever seen that before?
No, sir.
Was that in your car?
No, sir.
Regarding motive, the prosecution argues that the 28-year-old officer was ambitious and eager to advance to narcotics investigation.
I knew this shit. I knew. I said he wants to gets those names on. He wants to get as many people as he can so he can get the narcotics division. What did I fucking say? Ha! I'm too damn good at this. Oh man. That's actually very, I'm glad I got that right. I'm very glad I got that right.
As swiftly as he could.
Yep.
In contrast, Wester testified under oath that he never planted any drugs.
Drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
After 5 days of testimony and numerous witnesses, the jury was tasked with delivering a verdict. If Wester is found guilty on all charges, he could face a life sentence in prison. Following 7 hours of deliberation, the jury returns with its verdict.
State of Florida versus Zachary Tyler Wester, you the jury find as follows as to the counts charged in the information. Count 1, guilty of racketeering as charged.
The clerk proceeded to announce the verdicts for all 67 charges.
7, guilty of official misconduct as charged.
Overall, the corrupt officer was convicted on 19 charges.
Count 9, guilty of official misconduct as charged. Count 10, guilty of official misconduct as charged.
The officer's convictions encompassed instances of misconduct during the arrests of both Van and Teresa Odom. Out of the 12 drivers involved, 11 of them filed civil lawsuits against Wester. In July 2021, he received a prison sentence of 12.5 years.
What's insane is he probably thinks that's unfair. He's just like, in his mind, he just did his job. Which is bullshit, because he planted shit and he knows he planted shit. But in his mind, he just did his job. And caught a bunch of people. He still claimed in court, under oath, that the drugs were there, despite clear footage showing the contrary. I'm sorry, so y'all, okay, if y'all watched a recent haunted doll video I did, right? You saw the Chucky doll I have. Okay, you know the Chucky doll I have. I swear it moved. Not now. It's moved though from where I last saw it. I swear it has. I turned and looked at it and realized it's not where it was before. Like, not positioned the way it was before. At least not to my memory. But I might be losing my mind and just having bad memory. I don't know. But I swear it's not where it was before. Anyways, back to this. Just ignore that. That just weirdly happened.
This is Jeremy DeWitt, who is currently in court.
Oh, we know this one. We've seen this one. This is the guy who was a security guard for, like, funerals and that, acting like some sort of cop. Yeah, we've seen this one many times.
In Orange County, Florida, making his appearance as the defendant. Jeremy DeWitt, who is 41 years old, is facing charges of carrying a concealed weapon. The Orange County Sheriff's Office is well acquainted with DeWitt and his history. DeWitt has been arrested multiple times in the past, and he has a previous conviction for impersonating a police officer. DeWitt operates a security company that offers escort services for funeral processions. However, he has a lengthy record of misusing this business to drive recklessly in traffic, block intersections, and confront other drivers whom he perceives as interfering with his services. After a pursuit, the police finally apprehended DeWitt, and he faced charges in 2 separate counties. These charges included impersonating an officer and failing to register as a sex offender. DeWitt was released on bond, but 10...
That's insane. Impersonating a police officer is one thing. Failing to register as a sex offender is a whole different freaking thing.
Months later, the police caught up with him once again. During a routine stop, a deputy noticed DeWitt carrying an object that appeared to be a firearm, along with one of his employees. Openly carrying a firearm is against the law in Florida. Once DeWitt is placed in handcuffs, the deputy attempts to remove his helmet, which angers DeWitt, who poses as a police officer. When DeWitt discovers the reason for his arrest, he becomes extremely angry and loses control of his emotions. DeWitt is extremely angry at the police, and it appears that he is solely focused on one particular thing. However, the actual police officers do not respond favorably to his demands. DeWitt is transported to the police station and formally charged.
I have seen this clip of him. He is so angry at these officers, and they get angry back at him. They get very aggressive with him too. Not saying unjustly, like they never physically touch him any different than they would anyone else, but they're emotionally angry because he's just yelling threats and demands at them, which he has no right to demand. He has no right to yell and want anything from them. They are just, because he's the one that's a goddamn criminal for many different crimes.
Charged with carrying a concealed weapon. However, it is later determined that the weapon in question was an unloaded pepperball gun. As a result, the charges against DeWitt are subsequently dropped. However, DeWitt's recent arrest does not mean he is in the clear. Due to this incident, his existing bond is revoked, and he must appear before the judge to address the matter and seek clarification. Eventually, DeWitt is released from custody, and his bond is reinstated. However, he will still face trial for the charge of impersonating a police officer. If convicted, he could potentially face a prison sentence of up to 5 years.
He doesn't count as a dirty cop. He's just a dumbass. That's what... DeWitt is just a dumbass in all levels. He's not a dirty cop. He's just an actual imbecile. Brandon Brophy.
This is Brandon Brophy at the Fresno Criminal Courthouse attending a hearing for his burglary charge. The 31-year-old inmate is present in the courtroom, preparing for the proceedings. However, he suddenly decides that he is not inclined to stay any longer. Brophy, who is shackled, doesn't manage to get very far before a deputy attempts to restrain him in the hall.
My man, you can't. You just don't. I'd say don't, not even because I want to get that thing. I'd say don't just because you ain't gonna get far. If I saw a guy run out of a freaking courtroom, first thing I'm gonna do is just close. He's shackled up. I'm just gonna clothesline his ass. He ain't gonna get out. He ain't gonna do nothing.
Hallway.
Do something, you two. This man is shackled.
During the altercation, Brophy makes an attempt to reach for the deputy's gun, while two bystanders choose to distance themselves from the situation.
My man, I won't be involved in the situation. I'm too damn crazy. I'll just jump on in there and take the guy out. They'd be like, you should have got involved. I'm like, well, you should have had it under control there, lady. You didn't have it under control. He was going for your gun. I stopped it before it got that far.
Despite being a foot taller and at least 50 pounds heavier than the deputy, Brophy's determination to escape is met with equal determination from her.
Appreciate
Observing the
this
struggle, another bystander exhibits bravery by intervening and assisting in subduing Brophy by applying a headlock.
Good.
Deputies and court staff promptly arrive to provide additional support.
Get him! Get him! Get him! You stupid bastard! Credit to the female officer. She was just like, no, you're going down. You're going down. You're coming with me. You're coming with me.
Brophy is successfully brought under control, secured with restraints, and seated in a wheelchair. He is then transported back to jail. Following the incident, Brophy is arrested once again and officially booked into Fresno County Jail, facing additional felony charges for escaping jail, on top of the original burglary charge. His bail is set at $1,693,000 as he awaits his upcoming court appearance.
That has what part of that had anything to do with the dirty cop? This feels very misled. That was not. It had nothing to do with the. In fact, that had more something to do with more good cops than bad ones. Unless the guy who was arrested was a cop, which you didn't make clear. I don't know what that had to do with a dirty cop.
A police officer was assigned to investigate a vehicle, unaware that it was a bait vehicle intentionally placed to catch potential theft. Upon inspecting the vehicle, the officer secretly took possession of pills and over $1,000 in cash.
They sent him to look at his own bait vehicle? Like, hey, look, this is cop. There's his car, and you gotta see what's going on there. It's a fucking bait cop car, and he has cop that fucking takes money and pills from it. And they're like, well, you fell right into that fucking trap, didn't you? God damn, you fell right into that. Holy crap.
However, when reporting back, the officer falsely claimed that there was nothing of value in the car. Unbeknownst to the officer, the police department had intentionally planted the cash and pills in the vehicle. Interestingly, all of this incriminating behavior was recorded on the officer's body camera.
Crooked cop is caught in...
How do officers become this stupid? You know you have a body cam on you. Why would you break the law? Because, but here's the thing, you have no way. Because if you turn off your body cam as you're doing this, you have no, and then you say nothing was found, and they, in this case, we're hoping something isn't, that you would steal something. You taking off your body, you turn on your body cam, almost puts you at guilty, because you clearly didn't want to be caught. But if you are wearing body cam, you're just an idiot, because you just arrested yourself doing the crime.
in the act on his own body camera video. The key piece of evidence led to the conviction of a former MTSU police officer.
Also, if you're a bait car, wouldn't you have cameras on there in case he turned off his? Because that had to have been on your mind. So wouldn't you have had cameras in the car somewhere to catch him in case he stole something? I would think you would do that with a bait car.
So just this month.
Now, the case started with a missing AR-15, and as News Channel 5's Nick Barra shows us, it ended with an elaborate sting, all caught on camera.
This is a body camera footage from former MTSU officer Marco Burke as he approaches an abandoned vehicle on campus last year. Unbeknownst to him, this was a planned operation to test Burke's reaction when faced with temptation.
An integrity test.
Chief Buddy Peaster had suspicions that Burke, a former MTSU officer, had stolen an AR-15 from an MTSU police locker, but he lacked concrete evidence. To gather proof, the Murfreesboro police arranged a sting operation on campus, deploying a...
I wonder, was this a situation where they were hoping, like they did this whole thing, was everyone expecting him to be found guilty? Like, were they all expecting him to do it? Or was it just that one guy, that one main guy, was just like, oh, I think he did, and everyone else was like, no, we'll do this thing, we'll prove to you he didn't do it. And then he ends up turning out that he did do it. At least he stole. At least we know he can steal stuff. Not that he stole the AR-15, but at least we know he steals stuff.
Bait car equipped with hidden cameras. Officer Burke was assigned to investigate the abandoned vehicle alone. In the recorded footage, we witness Burke's focus as he discovers and discreetly pockets a bottle of pills. He then proceeds to take possession of $1,100 in cash and another bottle of pills. Shortly thereafter, Burke reports no unusual findings to dispatch, concealing his illicit actions.
My God. Ah, man. And no shame. Tried to report nothing happened, hoping nothing. And then, boy, when it was revealed he was a sting by the officers, he's just like, fuck. I can't hide that one.
Two police officers were convicted and received prison sentences of 25 years and 18 years, respectively. This case marked the largest corruption scandal in the history of the Baltimore police.
Okay.
The leader of the corrupt task force was sentenced to 25 years, while another member received a sentence of 18 years.
Vic, Sergeant Wayne Jenkins got 25 years in federal prison earlier today, and moments ago, Detective Marcus Taylor got an 18-year sentence. He gave a rambling speech to the judge. He says he is innocent. He vows to fight this. She says that she regrets that he feels he wasn't treated fairly. She gave the government exactly what they wanted. Again, an 18-year sentence for him. Judge sentenced Sergeant Wayne Jenkins to 25 years in federal prison.
You have a gun and cocaine, probably I would say 2 1/4 just by looking at it.
The former head of the corrupt Baltimore Police Gun Trace Task Force wept and apologized for crimes that prosecutors say included at least 10 armed robberies, planting evidence, falsifying overtime, and selling $1 million worth of drugs, including prescriptions looted from pharmacies after Freddie.
Holy shit! So this guy planted evidence, robbed people, sold over $1 million in drugs, abused his power. This man, these two cops that they arrested did almost everything you could do as a corrupt cop. They found the list of like what you do as a corrupt cop, and they checked every single one of them. Corruption charged cops.
Two police officers were taken into custody on charges related to public corruption. It appears that these officers were engaged in fraudulent activities involving the misappropriation of taxpayer funds. They would allegedly arrive late and leave early, yet manipulate their time logs to reflect otherwise, thereby exploiting overtime pay. Such actions amount to stealing from the taxpayers. It is believed that they accumulated more than $120,000 through these illicit practices.
Ooh, okay, so these two would show up late and leave early, but would do the time books and would manipulate to say they were there longer and they showed up earlier to get overtime pay. But they, so that in the government world, they're stealing from taxpayers. Okay. Okay.
Federal prosecutors say it was a years-long scheme to fraudulently obtain overtime money. Money they say was federal funding to support highway safety programs like sobriety checkpoints. Former Lieutenant Daniel Griffin and former Sergeant William Robertson allegedly arrived late to their shifts and left early and falsified records.
To create the impression that they were working the entire overtime shift, Griffin and Robertson ensured that their co-conspirators all entered the same false number of hours worked into the system and entered false citation times to make it look like they were working the full 4-hour overtime shift when instead it was something less.
U.S. Attorney Andrew Lelling says they profited to the tune of at least $120,000 in taxpayer money.
Two police officers from Columbus have been arrested and are currently in jail, facing federal drug charges. The FBI was responsible for apprehending them. What makes this case particularly intriguing is that these two officers were originally assigned as narcotic officers and are now themselves being incarcerated for federal drug charges.
Oh, the worst thing to have is two drug guys in narcotics office. Them two know exactly, because them two have just been given the gift. They are literally handed their supplies. to sell. They are handed it on a silver platter and no one knows. These two probably thought they never, because no one's gonna look into that shit, right? No one's gonna look at the amount of stuff that's there for drugs and all that. Or at least they thought.
Just.
Those police officers are in jail on federal drug charges.
NBC4's Catherine Ross is live at police headquarters with what we're learning about this FBI investigation.
Yeah, Hattie and Matt, good morning. Well, so far we haven't learned too much. We are expecting to learn the details about those cases when the officers appear in court later today, but so far the city and the Division of Police here have not released any information. Now,
they're not going to. Police aren't going to want to admit it because they'll have to then admit that they hired 2 corrupt cops, and they never will. You will rarely ever see a police people make actually a comment when corrupt cops are caught. Rarely.
Here's what a source confirms to our NBC4 anchor, Carrie Charles. They say that officers John Koczkowski and Marco Marino were arrested on federal drug charges by FBI agents on Tuesday. Both officers are part of the narcotics division at CPD. Now, according to state prison records, Koczkowski is being held in the Delaware County Jail. Marino is at the Correction Center of Northwest Ohio. Booking information for both does not include the charges that they're facing. Now, the 2 officers are scheduled to face a judge today, and that is when we expect a lot of those records and details in these cases to be unsealed as well. But for now, live.
Chief was convicted and sentenced for his involvement in safeguarding drug shipments. Instead of fulfilling his duty to protect and serve, he chose to protect drug shipments. Shockingly, he expressed no remorse and stated that if given the chance, he would continue his illicit activities.
What?
The allure of the substantial monetary gains he received was too enticing for him to abandon his criminal.
You know what? At least there's an officer, right? There is a corrupt cop who will openly admit he did it. He's like, listen, I did it, yeah. And if given the chance, I would keep doing it. I'd still keep doing it. You ain't got. You don't know the money I got, man. You just don't know the money I received from doing this. The man's at least honest in himself.
Criminal pursuits.
Major developments in another big story we've been following for months. It was sentencing day for a former police chief. Donald Solomon told undercover agents he was the best cop money could buy, and now he's going to prison for it. Channel 11's Alan Jennings is live with the video that led to his conviction and the punishment that was handed down today. Alan.
Got slammed, Vince. 11 years, 3 months. Stood before the judge and apologized to his children, the FBI, law enforcement in general, for violating his personal and public trust. The former East Washington police chief left the courthouse. His public defender attorney told him not to talk to me. U.S. Attorney David Hickton, meanwhile, called the 11-year sentence most appropriate.
The videotapes showing actual drug transactions where he was using his uniform, his police car, and operating in a fashion to protect the transaction and then escort the perpetrators to Interstate 79 was beyond chilling.
Here's that FBI surveillance video of then Police Chief Don Solomon meeting with who Solomon thought were drug dealers. They were actually FBI agents and FBI informants.
Purchased law enforcement tasers for a purported drug dealer to use those tasers in collection activities were shocking to say the least.
During the year-long investigation, secretly shot FBI video also captured Solomon delivering his intentions to make thousands of dollars protecting cocaine dealers. And that's not all.
I am the best cop money can buy. That little slimy devil. I'm the best cop money can buy. You're definitely a cop money can buy.
There was another line that captured some attention where he was asked if he wanted to continue in this type of behavior, and he said, hell yeah.
Solomon took about $7,800 to protect the alleged drug dealers. He'll be sentenced to federal prison. He's going to be allowed to self-report, and he asked the court if he could take part in prison ministry when he gets there. When he gets out of prison, he'll be nearly 70 years old. Live on Grant Street, Alan Jennings, Channel 11 News.
And that he said, I'm the best.
My hope is that none of these news things cause me any problems copyright-wise. I think they probably won't, because they probably would have caused him issues. I'm just hoping they don't cause me any issues.
Money, best cop money can buy. Well, all the money in the world apparently can't keep that cop and form.
New chief in town.
There is a recently appointed police chief in town who, within just 6 days of assuming the position, has already initiated charges against multiple police officers. It is remarkable that in such a short time, 6 officers are now facing impending charges. This new police chief has wasted no time and is already making a significant impact on the community. Let's listen to what he has to say.
The shoe did drop on some of these officers today who apparently were surprised at their homes and taken into custody. At least one of them apparently caught on the highway as Michigan State Police followed him from a certain location. The chief did manage to take himself and his wife to the Ypsilanti State Police Post to turn himself in. He rolled out slowly and without comment in his Chevy pickup the former chief of police, Mike St. Andre, and his wife, Sandy. Both charged, but free for the evening.
I'm kind of glad it's over.
He's only been on the job for 6 days now, and already Robert Dickerson has suspended 4 officers for misconduct, and today saw his predecessor, former Chief Mike St. Andre, charged.
Holy crap, this guy showed up, laid down the law immediately. They were just like, yeah, we're gonna get another new chief. He's gonna probably be just as good as this guy is with all the corruption. Well, we can get away with shit. This guy was like, no. I want this one suspended, this one suspended, this one suspended, this one suspended. I want the former chief charged. If you could charge other ones, charge other ones. Keep charging, charge other officers. Anyone who's not corruption, you're charging their ass. All of them.
But several days ago, Dickerson wanted to take stern action.
I was ready to terminate him last week. However, because of the fact that they were given the direction, as I told you on the phone last week, they were given the direction and their supervision from the chief. And he basically approved the stuff that they were doing on that investigation.
Action News has learned that 4 of the 6 officers charged today are the same 4 members of the Romulus Police Special Investigations Unit who were suspended without pay for 30 days last.
This is Charlie Reeder at the Pike County Courthouse in Waverly, Ohio, attending the sentencing hearing of the former Pike County Sheriff. The sheriff pleaded guilty to 2 charges, theft in office and tampering with evidence. It is alleged that he unlawfully appropriated approximately $5,000 that had been seized in other cases. He now stands before Judge Patricia.
So he has stolen money from other cases. Okay, so he stole money and kept it for himself, up to $5,000 worth of it.
Cosgrove. And this hearing will determine the length of his sentence for these crimes. The defendant, visibly emotional, appeals to the judge for a lenient sentence, requesting the minimum punishment and community service.
I stand here before you today to take accountability for my actions. As the Sheriff of Ohio, I shed, I shed bad light on the office of sheriff. For this, I'm terribly sorry. If I could go back and change it, I would have 1,000,000 times.
This judge looks like she could not give an S about him. What he's saying. It's like it's just one ear and out the other with her. Tell me I'm not the only one that gets that vibe when watching her as he's talking.
For this is not who I am. I have and I now pray that the court will find mercy on me. And I beg the court, they see fit to grant me community control. I am a good person who made bad decisions and choices.
After expressing deep regret for his actions, Reeder pleads with the judge to take into account the consequences that a prison sentence would have on his family.
I'm asking all this so that I have the opportunity to watch my son graduate from high school. My daughter is getting married in October. So that I can...
Should have thought about that before you committed your crimes. You should have thought about your family before you committed the you did. You should have thought about your family before you stole that money. You can't... Your family becomes a victim of your own because they lose their daughter loses your dad. Their daughter loses... His daughter loses their dad. Because he chose money over any sort of anything else. He chose to steal money over them. He chose to steal money over his own integrity, own pride, over anything. He broke the law just for money.
To be there for her and my wife, so I could be a husband that I haven't been at 25 years due to my career.
Your wife can find someone else, that's fine.
Your Honor, please do not send me to prison. I have wrong, but I'm not ruined. I still have a lot of good left in me. And thank you for your time.
After the defendant finishes speaking, the judge has one question to ask him.
A big question I have, and is on everyone's mind, I'm assuming, is why did you take the money?
I took the money, and mind you, this does not excuse it, but from drug dealers that took it from parents, very poor people in this county.
According to Reeder, he claims to have used a significant portion of the money to support charitable causes in the community.
I don't believe you for one single second. I do not believe you.
However, there is also evidence suggesting that he accumulated a substantial gambling debt. Unfortunately for Reeder...
Oh, that's what he used it for. Okay. So use the money because he had a gambling debt he was trying to pay off with it. Okay.
The judge appears unsympathetic towards his explanations and circumstances.
No, you shouldn't.
For 24 years. We all choose our profession, and we have to conduct ourselves with integrity so that everyone trusts us. It cannot be underestimated the damage that you have caused to the citizens of Pike County, to law enforcement who every day get up, face the same sort of stresses that you do. They go all home at night, they get up in the morning. The sacrifices that these men and women make, I think you made a mockery of it.
Reeder receives a sentence totaling 6.5 years. However, due to certain counts running concurrently, which means they will be served simultaneously, Reeder will only serve 3 years in prison. Additionally, he is prohibited from holding public office in Ohio and can no longer work as a peace officer. This is Todd Pate attending his hearing. It is important to note that the defendant is not typically the person standing before the judge.
No.
Todd Pate, the former sheriff of Breckinridge County, is facing multiple charges including assault, operating under the influence, his second offense, criminal mischief, and leaving the scene of an accident. Today, the 51-year-old is present in court to change his plea from not guilty to guilty, a decision he has already confirmed in writing. By doing so, he will receive a reduced sentence of only 75 days in jail, as opposed to a potential maximum sentence of 15 years if he were to proceed with a trial and be found guilty on all charges. To formalize this plea change, he simply needs to state his admission before Judge Janet Crocker. The judge disregards the question and proceeds to inquire with the prosecution about the case.
Mr. Chambers, what is the Commonwealth's position at this time, sir?
Your Honor, we would move to revoke the defendant's bond at this time.
The judge calls for a short break, possibly with the intention of allowing Pate's attorney to remind him of his prior agreement to plead guilty. Upon resuming...
Wait, did he not want to do it? Does he have so much in cocky and prideness that he actually still, even though he'll get him 75 days in jail, he can't just look at someone and say, I committed the fucking crimes. Like, he still has so much fucking ignorance to himself that even though he knows he's done it, he won't look at them and say he still believes in his head he could get away with it. Unbelievable.
During the court session, the judge makes another attempt to address the matter. The issue at hand is that Pate disagrees with the assault charge leveled against him. He believes that the prosecutor included this charge due to his previous role as sheriff and in response to his rejection of a prior plea deal. However, by this point, the judge has had enough.
Yep.
Pate's attorney appears visibly frustrated, while the judge grows increasingly exasperated with Pate's inconsistent positions. Eventually, Pate decides to plead guilty and agrees to the conditions of his sentence, which entails serving 75 days in a county jail with credit for the time he has already served.
Oh my god, what an absolute imbecile. Just, yeah, he has such a simple goal. Just need to say you're guilty, say you did it, and walk away. Okay, 75 days and walk away, because you're lucky you get that. For assault, leaving an accident, all that. But still, he had to fight till the end. Until he finally is a fucking probably lawyer, but just was just like, just fucking say you did it and move on. Don't make it so you have to be jailed 15 years because you're that much of an imbecile.
This is Jenny Mariah Kelly in San Luis Obispo, California, where tensions are rising between opposing lawyers despite the court being in recess. On one side is Timothy McGill, representing a client who is suing for wrongful termination as a state hospital employee. On the other side sits Deputy Attorney General Jenny Mariah Kelly, the state's second highest ranking legal officer. During the recent cross-examination of a state witness, McGill posed a question aimed at undermining the witness's credibility. Specifically, he inquired whether the witness had met Kelly earlier in the day prior to testifying. This question was intended to cast doubt on the witness's reliability. In response, Kelly vehemently gestures and reportedly raises her voice, drawing attention from those present. Bailiff Tyler Brooks intervenes, requesting Kelly to cease her outburst and leave the courtroom. However, Kelly's body language suggests that she has no intention of complying. The situation takes an unusual turn, witnessing a state's Deputy Attorney General on the verge of being escorted out of court. However, the story doesn't end there.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
According to the sheriff's report, when Kelly refuses to lower her voice or leave the courtroom, the bailiff attempts to take hold of her hands and escort her out. However, she resists and pulls away, resulting in a struggle. The bailiff wrestles her to the floor while Kelly's co-counsel observes the scene with disbelief. Additional deputies arrive to provide assistance, and they manage to handcuff Kelly despite her continued resistance.
Whoa! This was so unnecessary! Oh, this entire thing was so she's yelling at all, they're like, hey, leave the courtroom, take a breather, calm yourself down, lower your voice. That's all they said, and this woman just started losing her goddamn mind, refusing to do so. She's like, hey, let me help you get out. She just started losing it, started resisting, and then turned into a whole fucking, hit my microphone was so loud. Caused the whole fucking hullabaloo.
Eventually, after some further exchange of words, she is finally escorted out of the courtroom. Subsequently, the California Deputy Attorney General is charged with the offense of resisting a peace officer. However, she later pleads no contest to the lesser charge of disturbing the peace. As part of her sentence, she is required to pay a fine of $1,000 and complete anger management classes.
I'd say. Definitely had anger management.
This is Lisette Gonzalez, who is 46 years old. Although a verdict has already been reached for Gonzalez's DUI charge, her attorney makes a final plea to Judge Fred Schott.
Not enough evidence presented for the jury to find the verdict that they did. They didn't do all the field sobriety examinations that should have been done.
During the trial, it was disclosed that Gonzalez was never subjected to a breathalyzer test or had her blood drawn. Surprisingly, arresting officers
So she never had a breathalyzer test done. She never had blood done. How drunk did you know she was? Now listen, there are some people, I understand the thought process. Okay, there are some people you just look at and you know they're drunk. Like, you know they're gone. They are hammered. They are done, right? But law-wise, I feel like no matter what they look like, you almost can't... It would be hard to charge them because of the fact that you don't... Without blood or breathalyzer being done. I feel like it would be really hard to charge them.
Officer Michael Wagner recorded in his official report that she tested above the legal limit of 0.08. Wagner defended this discrepancy as an honest mistake, but maintained that he observed signs of intoxication.
Okay, so the officer did not test her, but the problem he mistake was he said that he tested her and she was above the alcohol limit. But he didn't test her. He just said he saw signs of intoxication. Okay, so yeah, she has to, in my mind, she has to be set free. Even if she committed the crime, there was so much that was done wrong here, she has to be set free.
Grant the judgment notwithstanding the verdict.
The attorney is requesting the judge to exercise his authority in an uncommon move to reverse the jury's verdict and declare the defendant innocent. Typically, such actions are seldom witnessed in the courtroom.
This isn't a purely circumstantial case, and so I'm going to deny the motion for JOA.
Although it may appear that the case has concluded, Judge Schott still has matters to address concerning Gonzalez.
Now, we have this other case for driving a license suspended.
Gonzalez faced a separate charge of driving with a suspended license, which occurred 2 months after her DUI arrest. The issue at hand is that her license was suspended solely due to inaccurate paperwork filed by Officer Wagner.
It was a mistake, admittedly, by Michael Wagner.
I know.
He testified to that today.
He caused her to have her driver's license suspended for at least a few months for nothing. So are you going to null process that case? Or am I going to get mad at you today?
Your Honor, but at this
Why
point...
won't you, wait a minute. Did you hear the uncontroverted testimony of this officer?
Your Honor.
Then I want you to take him up on perjury.
Your Honor.
Will you take him up for perjury?
He admitted it was a mistake, Your Honor.
No, but he lied. He lied on a sworn
Absolutely
citation.
not, Your Honor, and that is not true.
I'm dismissing. I'm dismissing. I am dismissing this charge. No, I'm dismissing the charge.
I love this judge. I love this judge. This judge, okay. Her license, because the charge is driving whilst the license is suspended. But her license is only suspended because of a fake, false paperwork done by the cop. So he's like, okay, I'm giving you a chance to throw this out. Throw out this charge. I'm giving you a chance to throw out this charge. But this defense attorney, or this prosecutor, prosecutor, I believe. This prosecutor's like, no, we want this charge stick. She did drive a suspended license, but he's like, did you not hear the cop saying that he made a mistake and that it was false paperwork? She's like, yeah, I made a mistake. She's like, he's like, I'm throwing it out. This is BS. I'm throwing it out. But she's fighting it. But he's like, I'm throwing it out.
The judge has recently dismissed the pending case against the defendant, but his actions do not end there.
It's fishy, and I have no idea how they. You know what? You know what? I'm granting. I'm rescinding the sentence. I'm granting the JOA.
In a surprising turn of events, Judge Schott reverses his previous decision and declares the defendant, Lisette Gonzalez, not guilty.
I feel that was done out of emotion. That was done just because this prosecutor would not go with what he wanted. Would not just listen to him. He kept, alright, she fought everything. So he got so mad, he's like, freaking shit, you know what, screw it. I'm done with this damn whole case, I'm throwing it out. I'm reversing it, she's fine, just let it, I'm done with this.
Guilty right then and there.
I'm granting the JOA in fairness.
In fairness, because you don't like the state's decision today, Your Honor, on the case?
You know, now that I consider what Officer Wagner testified to and how many times he basically tripped over himself just to arrest this lady with no real probable cause, we're done. Motion, the JOA is granted.
And you're not going to provide a written order on that?
Nope. You want to appeal me?
You're Thank you, Your Honor.
Case should have never been.
As a result, Gonzalez.
I think that might be one of my favorite judge things I've ever actually seen. We're gonna end it there since they were just, you know, he's not guilty on any charges, so. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this reaction video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all for the next one.